Hi, everybody. Welcome to Simply Cards by Kathy. I'm Kathy Ondas, and today is Friday, November 18th, 2022. So I'm happy to be here with you. I know I've missed quite a bit over the last month. I'm still working to get back to where I was over being sick. So I hope you're having a great week. And today I want to share some clean and simple cards with you using just some designer series paper and a simple die cut. And my whole goal for you is not necessarily to use what I use, but to look at what you have and maybe adjust it and be able to make something that you're proud of or happy to send out to others to bring them a little bit of joy. So I am going to switch this camera over to my desktop and we're going to get started. Okay, hopefully you can see and hear me well. If you're with me, I'd love to hear where you're from. And if you have any problems seeing or hearing me, please leave a note in the comments. So I'm going to show you the cards that we're going to use today and or make today. And I really love them. I love the color and I love the just clean and simple look of them. And I'm going to show you in a minute what we're going to use. So the first thing I focused on was the vellum paper. This is the Snowflake 12 by 12 specialty vellum paper. It's on page 40 of our July to December mini catalog. And the one reason I chose it is I'm very bad at using my vellum paper. I always get it and I never really finish using it. And I'm not really sure why, but I've been trying really hard to work more with vellum because I really like the look it gives. Whether it's the vellum that we're going to be using today or even plain vellum, using it for embossing, both with embossing powders and dry embossing. So that's one of the things we'll be using. The other thing is one of my all-time favorite dies, and that's in the annual catalog on page 175. And that's the Stylish Shapes dies. I absolutely love these dies, and today we're going to be using the third smallest or fourth largest, however you want to look at it, circle for our die cut. But I use these more than probably anything. I just love the banners and I love the variation in the shapes to be able to use them together. And then we're going to use two stamp sets. One is the new that came out with it's the framed and festive. And it came out with the this new stamp set that just came out, and it just escaped me. It's the framed florets. That's it. So we're going to use this one from that. And then the other stamp set we're going to use is Brightest Glow. And that is also in your mini catalog. And I've used several of the greetings from here. So I want to show you the specialty paper, the vellum. You get four different, two sheets of four different versions. And two of them are flocked. I don't know if you can see that well, so hopefully you can. This is Snowflakes, which is the one we're going to use today. And then you have like a falling snow or dots. That both of those are flocked. And then you have the silver that is in the vellum, again, Snowflakes, which we'll be using this one, and then snow. To me, it looks like snow, or otherwise it can be dots. So, and I just picked up my Snowflakes, so we're going to put those back over there. And somewhere I think I dropped one. Today's been one of those days where things just seem to have not gone as I had planned on. So let's kind of go from there. So the first one we're going to do is we're using Starry Sky, which is one of the 2022, 2024 in colors. And don't worry about the measurements. They will all be on my website by the end of the day. And that there'll be a link right down below the video that'll take you over there. But these are 5.5 by 8.5, and they're scored at 4.25. Now, I'm going to go ahead and fold them. But one thing I thought I'd like to show you is kind of a trick to folding. I don't know about you, but sometimes when I go to fold on the score line, even though it's scored, I get a little bit of, it's not quite as even as I would like. If you use a trimmer and you put it right up against the edge, and you go ahead, and this one doesn't even look straight. Let's recheck this. And it isn't. So let's start with another one. So we're going to cut this at 5.5. And we're going to score it at 4.25. And make sure that you have your cutting blade out of the way there when you score it. And then I found that if I put this up against the edge and bring it right up, I always seem to get a really good even fold. So once I get it like that, I just go ahead and score it with my bone folder. I tend to do both sides just so I get a flatter fold. So on this first card, we're going to use the flocked snowflakes. And not doing anything with this one. Use it as it is. We're going to go ahead and adhere this piece of vellum to our cardstock. Now the vellum measures 3.5 by 5.5, and I'm going to show you how to adhere it without having the glue show through. So I keep a small craft sponge. These come in circles, and I cut them up into like sixths. And then I just get a clamp, paper clip, and I use that to hold on to it so that I don't get any get the glue all over me and transfer it to my paper. You want to use your silicone mat for this, and I just put out a good amount of glue, and let's see if it's going to come out here. That's a brand new bottle. So let's go ahead and try this one. Oh my goodness. Okay, now that's absolutely weird because there's 3 new bottles here. So, and it's not that cold. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer some glue. And I'm not sure why those aren't coming out, but we'll use this. And then I take my sponge and I want to just kind of put this down real thin on my silicone mat. And then I'm going to come over here, and hopefully you can see this. I'm just going to kind of wipe it on in a thin layer. And I just wipe down or across so that it's not streaky. You don't want to put a large amount on there because it will show through. If I need more, I just add to it. And then it's almost like I'm painting it on. You want to make sure you get your edges so that they stick down. And then we're going to go ahead and we're just going to adhere this to the front of our card. That looks pretty good. I want it right in the middle. And we're going to go with that. And then I just gently press it down. Now I'm going to pick this up so that you can see. You cannot see that glue through there. So that's a really great way to apply your adhesive on the back of vellum. Now this is a quick and simple card, and we're using, like I showed you, the third smallest circle from the die cut, and we're going to do, I chose to do this one as a Happy New Year. And I'll tell you why. I have some friends and family that don't celebrate Christmas. They celebrate other holidays. So this allows me to send them a card that hopefully they'll enjoy getting, but also kind of for them to bring in the new year, since they don't celebrate Christmas. So I have the Happy New Year here, and this one is from the Brightest Glow. And I'm just going to go ahead and stamp it. Okay, and this we're going to pop up with some dimensionals. So let me pull those in here. And I tend to cut my dimensionals in half. I think they go further, and it just works for me. And we're going to go ahead and put this off a little bit. I'm going to put this one off a little bit to the right. So I'm going to grab my pick tool here. I hope you have some fun plans for the weekend. And it's probably going to be a busy week for many because of the holiday coming up with Thanksgiving. Let's put this right about here. Now I want to dress it up a little bit. So I'm going to stay with the Starry Sky, and I cut some small dies, die cuts of snowflakes. Now this one is from the designer, no it isn't. The snowflake is from one of the tag dies, and I will tell you what that is in a minute. But I want to show you how I put them on. Now, if you don't want to use dimensionals, you could glue these all down around here, but I wanted it to just dress it up a little bit. I like the look of it. So what I did is I used my leftover, and you can see it's pretty leftover. I always use my ends up on my Stampin' Dimensionals, and what I do, and let me show you that, is I just go in and I cut them. So even with this one, I'll go in and cut the size I need. So for these, I cut real thin strips, and then I just place them on there and peel them off, and I have dimensionals the size that I need. So I did go ahead and put them on, all of these, and except these two, to show you what I do. And then let's just remove the backings on some of these, and we'll get this on. Okay, it looks like I need one more here. So I'm going to take one of these and just put it here. Now, for some of you, this may be too much to do. You may not want to do all that. And then you can just kind of glue them down if you choose to. So with this, I'm just going to put one up in here. And I did leave one, or I'm going to leave one without the dimensional because it's going to be on my die. And I'm just going to take my small, you could try using a glue dot. I'm just going to use a fine tipped glue and put that to here. Okay, let's do the other two. This one is going to go, let's remove these. Now, if you're on my email list, just a reminder that today's the last day of the seasonal sale that Stampin' Up! Is having. And that is all of the stamps, dies, some of the designer series paper, and the embossing folders in the annual catalog. So your great deal. If you're looking to, if there's been some stamps or dies that you've wanted and you've been waiting, now's the time to do it. That will be taken off in your cart as you go through and put your supplies in. So I wanted to remind you of that. And then this one I'm just going to put right down in the corner. Okay, this kind of. Okay, so there's the front of our card. And for the inside of our card, just going to, very simple, using a 1/2-inch strip of the flocked vellum. And we're going to adhere that to the inside of our card. And let's go ahead and do that. And again, I'm going to use my silicone mat, my sponge, and my glue. And just smear it and then lightly spread that out, making sure you get your ends. And I'm just going to use this on the edge of the inside layer. And then I thought with this I would stamp it saying from our home to yours. So it's Happy New Year from our home to yours. So let's go ahead and get that done. And we're going to adhere this to the inside of our card. I hope you have some fun plans for the weekend. If you watch our Connect to Create series, if you're new to that, that is a collaboration between myself and another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, Pat Fairless from Fairless Stampin' Flares. I did a video yesterday on how to do the glass and crack glass technique. So if you haven't had a chance to see that, while you're here on YouTube, just look under the Connect to Create, and that's yesterday's video. So here's our first card. Now I want to dress it up a little bit. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to bring in my iridescent pearls. And I'm going to go ahead and put one in the center of each snowflake. I love my pick tool for picking up my embellishments because it just slides them right off the plastic, and I'm able to get them without kind of fussing with them or having them fall off the tip of my folder. So here's our first card. Happy New Year. Pretty simple, easy to do. You could do several of these very quickly. And it's pretty clean. So let's set that off and let's bring in our next one. Now our next one is the same measurements. It is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to go ahead, fold into the hill, and rather than bring in my trimmer, I'm going to see how I do without it. And I'm going to use my bone folder just to make sure I get a good crease. Now this one we're going to do a little bit different. With this we're going to use an embossing folder. I'm going to move this off to the side, and we're going to use the silver vellum paper for this one. And this one is even going to be a little bit quicker and more simple. Now let me grab my embossing folder. Oh my gosh. I'm going to bring this up here, and I'm going to put it so that I hope you can see it. And here's what I did with my embossing. I'm using the Wintry 3D embossing folder. It comes with two. They will fit through the mini cut and emboss machine. I'm using my large one because I'm going to feed the cardstock through. So I only want to emboss this half of it. So what I'm going to do is line this up. And if you can see that black line right there, I'm going to take the paper out. You can see the line. I'm going to line that up, my end of my cardstock with that. And I'm only going to emboss a little more than half of it. So let's get that in there. And that looks good. And we're just going to feed this. Because this is a 3D, you're going to use plate 1 and plate number 4. So I'm going to go ahead and feed this through. Now you're going to hear a click when that starts, your feel when that embossing folder starts to go through. And as you go through, you'll hear it click. And you can go back out. I just went back through. And we're going to pull that out. And here's what you have. You have a little more than half of your cardstock embossed. And I love the snowflakes. Hopefully you can see that on screen. And then we're going to come in with this piece, and this is 1 3/4, I believe. Again, the measurements will be, and it's by 5 1/2. I'm going to run it right along the edge of my card. Again, using the sponge with the glue to adhere that down so that I don't see any smudges or any glue on there. Now, the nice thing about using your silicone mat is that when that glue dries, all you do is rub it off. And I'll be able to show you that when we're done here. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to just adhere this right along the edge of my card. And hopefully my head isn't in the screen, but I just want to make sure that I get right on the edge. There we go. Okay, now with this one, we're going to use a circle like we did on the last one. Oops. Make sure I press that down well. There we go. And we have another circle. So with this one, I am going to make this a Christmas one. So we're going to stamp "'Tis the Season." And again, I'm going to stay with Starry Sky. I love that color. And we're going to stamp that down, and we're going to set that off to the side. Now with this one, I decided to do a little bit different. I chose to use the glittered organdy ribbon, and hopefully you can see that. It gives you some sparkle and shine. And I cut a piece, a little bit longer than I'm going to need. I think I cut about a foot. And what we're going to do is bring it down across the front of our card. So I'm just going to take my Stampin' Seal Plus or Stampin' Seal, either one, and I'm going to run a strip of that right down. Let's get this going here. Right down the center here. And I'm going to roll a little bit up because I think I put out too much. And I'm going to run my ribbon back and forth on a diagonal. So pretty much like this. I'm going to bring it down. I use the glue to catch it, or the tape to catch it, so it doesn't move and slip around. And then back. And then I'm going to go back again. And then we can trim that off as we need to. Now I'm going to pop this up with Stampin' Dimensionals. So let me grab some of those here. And I'm just going to pop these on. And I'm going to put this right over my ribbon. And it will help the ribbon to lay down. Let's bring this up just a little bit. I like the tape because it allows me then to readjust my, it's easy to pull up and to readjust if you need to or you want to, which I do. I don't want those ends quite so long. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and put this down. And I need to put it down straight, don't I? And a little bit more over to the center. There we go. And then I'm going to trim off my ribbon. Now, I wanted to dress the front up. Again, I'm going to use some of my pearls, iridescent pearls. And what I did is I took them and I put them in the center of the snowflakes from the embossing folder. And I used 5 of them. Typically I use 3, but I just really liked that iridescent look and what it added to my card. So there's the outside of our card. Now let's do the inside. And I'm going to grab a piece of basic white cardstock. And this is 4 by 5.5, 5 1/4, I'm sorry. And we're going to go ahead, and for this one, we are also going to adhere a piece of the vellum that matches from the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and add some more glue. Now with this one, I think this is cut a little bit longer, and that's okay. Sometimes I do that just to make sure that I get from top to bottom. And then I just turn it over and snip it off. That end isn't sticking there, so let's... Okay, now with this one, I picked a more traditional saying. It says, "May the peace of the seasons light your world, and may your new year be the brightest." So we're going to ink that up and stamp that. I always use my grid paper to try to make sure my paper's straight. I don't do anything straight, and I think it gives me a better chance of doing that. And then we're just going to adhere this to the inside of our card. Here we are. So here's our two cards. I think they're pretty clean and simple, very fast. You could easily make several of these in a short period of time. I'd love to hear from you which one you like best. And I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I'd love if you'd give me a thumbs up, and feel free to share this video to help me grow my channel. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I will be back on Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. and I hope to see you then. You have a great day and see you soon.